We are
Lofi Poli Sci. Welcome everyone to the Lofi Poli Sci podcast. I'm your host Michael Pickering. That's right, Lo-Fi as in low fidelity, low quality, in your face, messy as can be global news show. Here we're going to talk about that famous question: what's going on in the world today? And today, it's Messy Monday. That fast-paced weekend recap coming at you. The news fresh off that press from that NPR Middle East section. Clubhouse becomes an emotional meeting place for Israelis and Palestinians. Last Friday, a ceasefire went into effect between Gaza and Israel. We'll be watching closely to see what happens and how it develops for sure. But something else started before Friday and has been keeping on going since the ceasefire was called. You see, a conversation started between Palestinians and Israelis via the audio chat room app called Clubhouse. Now, we've talked about Clubhouse before and how it was used in China, before becoming banned, of course. But for people from the mainland, from Hong Kong, from Taiwan, all to simply just talk about their lives, talk about their experiences. And that's exactly what's been happening between everyday ordinary Israelis and Palestinians. It's a conversation in the midst of a time when people aren't talking that much. Hopefully government leaders can take a clue from their own people and get to talking and keep this ceasefire going. Check this read out, people. It's a lo-fi must-read. It's worth it. Next up, Source, the Europe section of the BBC. Western powers voice outrage as Belarus accused of hijacking plane. Okay, this may be the messiest thing I've read in quite some time. We've talked about here before, President of Belarus, President Lukashenko, cracking down on opposition and raiding media outlets since his August election steal in 2020. But this weekend, an airplane, a passenger plane, mind you, was going from Greece to Lithuania, and President Lukashenko personally ordered a fighter jet to pursue that plane and force it to land in Belarus. And they claimed it was a security threat or a bomb scare. But once that plane landed, they immediately arrested a 26-year-old journalist. I mean, really, people, they hijacked an international flight that was not bound for their country, forced it to land, arrested 2 people, and then let the flight go back to Lithuania. President Lukashenko, I think we can officially say you stopped giving a fuck of any kind about what people think you're doing over there in Belarus. And we'll keep you updated and see what other countries are going to do about this international hijacking. Now, moving forward, because we never move on from anything. Source, the Asia-Pacific section of the Reuters. Nepal president dissolves parliament. New election in November. That's right, a bit of parliamentary news for you, as the interim prime minister and opposition leaders in parliament simply couldn't get things together to form that coalition government they needed. So the president said enough is enough. You couldn't meet your deadline? New elections in November it is. And this is the same kind of parliamentary mix-up that we see in Israel and quite a few other countries go through quite often. It's one of those drawbacks of a true multi-party system. Sometimes you just can't get a government together. And we'll be keeping an eye out, Nepal, to see what you got going on soon. And our following story comes from the Latin America section of NPR. Ortega targets opposition figures as Nicaraguan elections approach. Well, it's been a while since we've heard anything from Nicaragua. What better way to reconnect than to say President Ortega is still messing with media and opposition. You see, this November, Nicaragua has a presidential election coming up. And of course, Ortega, he's going to be running again. But one of the offices that was raided belonged to Cristina Camero, the daughter of a former president, and an opposition leader that was likely to run for president. We say likely because now there is Nicaraguan law that prohibits anyone running for president if they've been under investigation for breaking the law. How convenient. Going into election season, a main opposition leader now appears to be under investigation. Too messy, Ortega. Too messy. We'll update you when we know more for sure, Lo-Fi listeners. And a last piece of news to send you on your way for the day. AP World section. Activists blockade McDonald's distribution center in UK. Oh, that's right. People in the UK, animal rights activists, are getting messy with McDonald's and temporarily disrupting that supply chain of McDo in an effort to say, get rid of the meat and switch to plant-based menus. Interesting. McDonald's going fully plant-based? What do you think? Will McDonald's ever make the quarter-pounder with cheese soy burger? Or will McDonald's ever make the tofu chicken nuggets Happy Meal? I'm curious your thoughts. Write in, let me know. And that's a brief snapshot of what's going on in the world today. Issue 5 of Letters of the Lofi Poli Sci came out on Saturday. Get at me to be added to the emailing list. Do you have top 10 list ideas? Send them on in to me. Do you have good news to share? Share it with us. Always remember that Lofi Poli Sci is more than just me. It's the we that we be. Peace and well-being to all my human beings out there. Much love and always the best. Pickering, signing off.